unfortunately, and I know what you're saying, is
Have
wrong.
they been approved?
I don't know.
That's my understanding, that these were negotiated
They're
and
ratified.
and
It says it's
ratified.
ratified, I mean,
Oh, it says it has been ratified, yes.
So if they've been ratified, there's got to be copies of these
With the
lying
exception
around
of 3
somewhere.
others that are
Absolutely.
not,
So
that have not
they
been
should be
ratified.
giving them to us prior to us voting on this.
I mean, can you really say, no, you're not gonna, if you don't approve of the contract, you
It's
don't
not-
approve of transferring the money?
Even if we don't approve, they're gonna approve it anyway, because
You never
we have
know.
no say.
No,
Well, you have,
that's not
right,
true.
that's not true, yeah.
Well, my question is, you got 78.5. How is it divvied up between all these contracts?
That I can't really tell you.
What's
We
the
know
total,
nothing about it.
Yeah, see?
what's the
Yeah.
total payroll? It's all but 3 of the unions, because we
Right.
got that the last time. I
But
mean,
the
you can look
police,
at it as
the police aren't in here.
Yeah. right.
Superior
And the-
offices, that's cost.
Through your
And the teachers aren't in here. I mean, this is not,
Superior
it's-
officers and
I
police
mean,
are
it's
both
not a
in there.
lot of employees,
No.
really.
I see superior offices, where's the other police?
Police is in G, just G.
The only,
But
the only
it's-
thing you could do that I could think of, Tom, and then
Take no action.
I mean, this is one of those
That's not what's
screwy
been ratified,
processes,
though.
is,
These are what's been
is
ratified.
this 1%, is it 5%?
Oh, no, they're gonna tell us.
Oh, okay,
that-
you're right.
They will
I'm
say, I
sorry,
think,
now.
to approve the contracts, they'll say they're 1.5% or whatever they are.
Whatever this represents, and we're only voting on 78.5. But 78.5 is a 1% increase.
But that's for 1 year. That's not the whole impact of these
Some of it goes
contracts.
backwards, if I remember right.
Yeah,
You're
that's
absolutely
correct.
right, Jeff. Some does go backwards.
So,
But
It's not a lot of money.
well, if it's for 3 guys, this is
It
fine.
is, it is.
I have a question, Mr. Town Administrator. What years are these contracts?
They go 14, 15, and 16. 16 will be funded in the budget. We are funding 14 retro and 15 current.
So the 78.5 is,
It's going to cover, we still had funds left over in the old union articles. We tried to use those up first before we had any free cash, and this is the balance of it.
this is the balance then?
78.5 isn't even it.
So this is the balance then, not the actual, all of the amounts? The,
Can you tell us the percentage that went up?
Yes, 1-1 splits for every fiscal year. So 1 at the beginning of the fiscal year and 1% at the midpoint in January.
So about the same as Social Security or less, actually. Social Security
Yeah,
was
after,
1.7.
over the last 8 years, Social Security is at 18.2% increases. Our staff would have 10% altogether.
Over how many years, Derek?
Over 8 years.
Yeah, but that's, well, the last few years have been,
Yeah.
nobody's gotten any increases because of healthcare costs and all that stuff went up, so.
All right. Yeah,
But
this is one of the interesting things.
That's all I can
Yeah.
say is, it doesn't sound like it's
1%.
1% per year, it sounds like
Is it
about.
1% per year or
No,
1% plus 1?
it's actually, it's
2%.
one at the beginning, 1 at the midpoint, so it's a 1.5%
Percent.
cost. But the next year, it's a 2% to
yeah.
what you're budgeting.
Yeah, it's 2%.
You know, so we're trying to save the money in the fiscal year, but you know that, you know,
Next
starting
year, we're
next
looking
year.
at a 2% increase.
Yeah.
2%, right.
Plus
So-
another
That's in
1%,
16.
plus another 1.5.
Right, so each one. So overall, the actual, when you go enter into the FY 17 budget, you'll have had a 6% total of increases over 3 years.
So that's 2% a year.
Yeah.
That's not unreasonable in my world.
Yeah, one of the things, the healthcare
2%?
splits have
In this
gone from.
town?
You think that's unreasonable?
I do.
For good people?
Well, the other thing is healthcare splits have gone up from 25% to 32.5%.
That's
And it
good.
costs the average employee on a family plan an extra $3,000 annually that they gave back to the town. Single plan, $1,500. At the end of it, if you did 6% on somebody making $35,000 a year, they've lost money.
Because of the healthcare.
Yeah.
yeah, they're taking a bigger
Yeah,
split.
healthcare is now 67.5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Any
town
more
covers
if we- we
67.5.
We getting any more there? That,
No, considering versus what we have in the local districts and other communities, we're doing a heck of a lot better.
Marion is 50.
Yeah, Marion's, what are they paying people?
Yeah,
I mean, I mean, it's all fog to me. Nobody's really sat down and showed how they got to there. But that's, I mean, we've already voted on it, fine. I didn't mean to hold it up, but I just.
No, we haven't
voted on
voted,
it.
that's why I'm
I
asking.
think you had an excellent point, Tom. You don't want to, you want to know what, and I think you were absolutely right, asking.
Can we get copies, Derek, of all these ratified contracts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We would like that.
We, the royal we.
Your Highness.
The royal we,
Absolutely.
yes. So Tom brings up the point. I mean, this puts us in an awkward position. It would be great when people came to us, they said, okay, this is where we stand relative to the competition, which is what the schools, teachers did, find out where they are. And then you know what the annual increase is from that, and you know whether you're competitive or not. That's the key is, when you say you want to be competitive for your best, union contract, unfortunately, you can't pick the best employees, but normally you would. And then the healthcare things fits what's going on in private industry where people are getting shoved off into
Higher deductibles.
High deductibles.
More,
You pay all your insurance.
Yeah, so, no.
That was for the last 7 years. Once that got too high, that was it.
Yeah,
They
people
bounced
just
you
walk
right
away.
up.
Really?
Well, now they could put them into Medicare and then
Yeah,
more high
yeah,
deductible.
Yeah.
that's what I was.
Right, we put them in Medicare as well.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, you do.
that's
You do
the-
that.
that's the law
Right,
to
so
do
the
that
feds
as
end
well.
up paying for it,
Yep.
or the state pays for it, but anyway.
So anybody that's eligible automatically has to go to
This
Medicare.
feels,
But what are you giving them for their secondary? Are you offering them the same plans for insurance?
I think it ends
Secondary
up costing $130 to the town versus the, costing
And what are they
$1,200.
paying?
Yeah.
So they would be paying 32.5%, so if it's 130 to the town, it's probably, $30 to them, $40.
Yeah.
That's not very much.
That's great.
It isn't, Donna.
No,
My husband's a
I'm
firefighter
saying
in
that's a
Wakefield.
great deal that they have.
It's a great deal.
Th- they have, that's what I'm saying.
Because my husband's a firefighter, I pay $150 for Part B, I'm on Medicare, and for my secondary insurance. And we
I do
went into
too.
GIC, which was the state. If it was Blue Cross Blue Shield, as you well know, I would have been paying well over $200.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't fall into a donut hole, that's great, because I'm part of the town of Wakefield. But they pay big bucks. The town doesn't kick in anything for that. I pay it out of my social security check, and Medicare, and I pay the other one privately out of his pension check.
But that was an agreement with the town like a long time ago. I mean, we were lucky that the town was willing to go in changing the law and putting them on Medicare, and they were willing to do that. That was a tough battle.
and they did.
And they
Yes.
did.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's asking a lot.
But, I mean, I think it was really fair to everyone. I mean, private industry had to do it, then I think cities and towns needed to do it too, so. All right, so, I need a motion,
So moved.
favorable action on Article 3, transfer from free cash $78,500 to the following union contracts. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
700. Free cash stabilization fund, 6.
Hang on one second, Derek, put his laptop on my notes. Actually, the other one that we needed to do was Article 20. And then Article 20 will be our measure and list. I will
Oh, yeah.
entertain a motion for reconsideration or a vote on Article 20.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of reconsideration?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Okay, so this is also a motion, an article that we voted no action on, having not knowing what the funding source was going to be. We now know the funding source is going to be free cash in the sum of $190,000. I will entertain a motion for favorable action.
So moved.
Second.
And discussion? Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor of favorable action on Article 20?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Okay.
700.
All right, if I'm getting this correctly, I just have a question, Derek. I mean, we've got our free cash. I'm not even gonna ask you to go into what magic went into this. I'm sure you're prepared to explain to the floor what magic went into the original 19,000. I mean, it's already 1,945,000, blah, 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 blah. Okay, on the stabilization, what was the reason for rounding it up to $750,000?
It was actually a better number, it was over 1.6 million.
Okay, so it's, I mean, it's,
Instead
we're
of
going
just doing-
above
we're going
the
above the
request?
50%, yeah.
Okay. So if I've got this about right, with the 750 and taking out those articles, it looks like we got 264,000 we're rolling over? That's,
264,383, yeah.
okay. And we're just gonna let that roll over?
Yeah, I would keep it in there. We might, depending on what we have for snow and ice issues, at the Springtown meeting, I might try to vote that into the snow and ice deficit.
Okay.
I asked the DOR last time whether you just let it roll over, if we should vote it for the snow and ice deficit. They said they prefer to have it voted towards it. Once we've reached our goals for stabilization fund and capital funds, you know, those, all those extra millions.
Right.
Then you can let your free cash start rolling over as well. Bourne certified their free cash at $5.2 million.
Wow.
Nice.
What percentage of their budget?
That, they almost, I think their budget's equally the same size as ours, so. it's a-
The
it's a shocking
goal is
number.
what, somewhere between 3% and 5%?
3 and 5%. The state wants you to have 10 and 12% between free cash and stabilization.
And our stabilization is a million.
1.6 after this
After.
transfer.
We've come a long way,
Come
Tom.
along.
Yeah.
We
Well,
have,
you're
haven't
gonna
we?
have to really fight for that, but because you know it.
We had to fight to get them to put money in the
I know.
stabilization.
We're still-
Tom was there, yeah. Oh,
You can hear them.
I know that it's a funny joke about, you know, when Jeff asked you about, you know, what the bloggers were saying, but I think it's really important at some point to know where that $1.9 million originates from.
Yeah, I mean, basically, the simplest way to answer it is, it's your balance, your balance at the end of the year, which is your expenses.
Unallocated
versus-
funds.
Yeah, so.
Well, I
trying
get
to
that.
track down, I can tell you what we received in extra funds that you wouldn't have budgeted, which is
Okay.
like the $300,000 for the sale of real estate.
All right.
We had extra fees from the inspectional services for the Walmart.
Board of
and the
Health?
Marriott
Okay.
project. The Board of Health, because that went over. we
Yeah.
collect at least an extra 50,000 on that one.
Yeah.
The, what do you call it, the motor vehicle excise tax went up to, we collected 2.4 million because people are buying cars. Too broke to pay for it. We're buying cars. You know, but it's kind of a lame joke, because after 10 years or something, it's fiscally irresponsible to keep on putting money into a car if you can, it's going to cost more to fix it than it is to run. You know, so they've seen that trend across the whole state, so we're not unusual. But again, when we're budgeting for FY16, we're not going to budget 2.4 million in the motor vehicle excise, because what happens if nobody else buys it?
exactly.
Well, it
That's
starts going back
could be a
to-
one
That's one of
hit.
the things people think, is that we budget exactly to the revenues you had the year before. No. That's what they've done in the past. They've
Yeah.
had issues. We're not going to do that anymore. And that was sort of, you know, when I wrote in there, I wasn't being fresh when I was saying, you know, we're going to keep to the fiscal prudence. Even though we're not getting any of the extra money and such, it doesn't mean that you give up. And we
Exactly.
now have, after tonight, we'll have the most money in stabilization that we've ever had. I went back 20 years.
What are you gonna do when they ask for you to use the stabilization fund to fix the damn dam?
I would
You know
say
that's gonna
that-
come up.
I would say that's an improper use of it unless we can put it back in, all the money right back in.
Yeah,
You know, the community preservation, people have to understand, has so few uses. If we can use
Exactly.
it to actually
We should
benefit
use
the
it,
town,
Yeah, if
exactly.
you read Bonnie's note,
yeah.
she brought that up in the cover, and I think, you know, you need to keep pounding it. So 3 and 5%.
Not everybody thought I was so funny. It's okay. A few people got my joke. It was okay.
No.
All right, I do have a couple other things we need to take care of. That was, did everybody get the email on the printing bill?
Yes.
Okay. So I have a bill for $730. I need a motion to pay this bill of $730 to print the warrant.
So
Move
moved.
that we pay them $730 for the warrant.
That's the school roof project. Tom,
Second
where's
it,
your
I
update?
second it.
The roof just came.
Okay, so I have a motion to pay this $730 bill. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? I just need to sign this?
Can you send that one?
Oh, sure.
Could you,
All right, then I also got a reserve fund transfer request. It's the side of it's
yeah,
squished off.
the right-hand side was.
Yeah, I even tried to move it around and couldn't figure out how to do that. Would you like to explain, Town Administrator?
Yeah, we had passed an article several years ago at town meeting to replace the windows
Yep.
and doors at the Wareham Free Library. In going through it, we actually, every time we put it out to bid, it got turned back. Everybody bid more than the minimum we put out there, which is an aside. You know, then we actually changed the scope of it, lessened what we had to do for work on it. And the last bid we got was within the numbers, but on the last window, I went out there and I changed phones unfortunately, but the pictures, the rot was substantial. Not just rot, but also the ants. And we had the question, do you just board up the window that's been removed and leave the library that way, or do you go ahead and get it done? We had it open, we got it done, and this is the overage amount. Unfortunately, you know, that's what we had to do on it.
How much is it?
Actually, is the amount, 'cause that's the
7,700.
part that's all cut off that we couldn't
Yeah.
see. Oh, thank you.
Is it 7,700?
Yep, 7,700.
700?
7,700.
Yeah.
Big window.
Yeah, I mean, if we were to redesign the building with those triangle windows,
Yeah.
the roof is that roof is gonna have to be replaced within probably the next 5 years, and that's being gracious. And I think the last bid we had on there, our cost estimate was over $300,000.
Do you know what our balance is?
We had budgeted a little over 93,000,
Okay.
so that was about 18 more than the previous year. So bringing it down to about 86,
Okay.
85.
Any questions? I'll entertain a motion on the request for transfer from the reserve fund of $7,700 to replace or to expand the scope of this replacement restoration project.
So moved.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Okay.
Dirk, isn't that already underway?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Isn't the window thing happening?
Yeah, it's all done.
So this was just cleanup.
Yeah, we've received the final invoices on it. So. And the municipal maintenance director wasn't happy. He was on vacation and I authorized to continue on with the project.
All right, so we have all of that. I have any other town meeting matters? Is there anything else anybody's concerned about? Anything else, Derek, that you want to discuss with us?
Tonight, as soon as we have a quorum for financial articles of 150, knock on wood, the chairman of the Board of Selectmen is going to request that Article 1, the budget, I believe Article 16, which is the sewer budget, be taken up, because we need those to be done in order to set the tax rate. And if this goes into a second night, we know we've had an issue with
Yeah.
getting quorum, so that's, those are very important to get
So
done.
1 and 16.
1 and 16, okay.
So I just don't want that to be a surprise to the
Okay.
finance committee.
was the other one? Oh, the enterprise fund, okay.
And again, all those are essentially a revote of the articles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right, anything else anybody's concerned with?
What is going to be our format
Um,
at the meeting
what, tonight?
or
Yeah.
tonight?
Thanks.
As far as
Um,
reading the articles and also the recommendations?
Recommendations. The town moderator is going to ask for a motion. When she asks for the motion, whoever is doing the reading of the motion will recite the motion. Then she will ask for the vote of the Board of Selectmen, and she will ask for the vote of the Finance Committee and their recommendation. All right, at that point, you're going to read whatever the recommendation is, okay?
Okay, so it's my understanding that Joan and I are reading
The motions.
the motions, and Jeff is reading.
Jeff
the
and I are
recommend-
going to do the recommendations. I'm going to do the three that
You
we
got a
just
list?
voted on. Huh?
Okay.
We can sit side by side and just,
Just say your voice.
yeah. My voice is actually much better than it has been, which is really good. I'm happy about that. And I'll write up these three that we just did real quickly. It's just a
Yeah,
matter of the
just-
fact that we
yeah.
took the revoke because we know what free cash is. And now those are reasonable uses of free cash.
I also don't remember the last time we had free cash available for the October
I
town
don't
meeting.
either.
So,
No? Good job.
I
Yeah,
can
real
remember
good job,
last
Derek.
minute decisions on things that didn't
Excellent.
work
Making
out.
progress, kid.
trying, you know?
You guys are.
That's
You come a
very
long
good.
way, a long, long way.
I'm gonna make a very short statement at the beginning. I'm not gonna read what's in the book, as oftentimes has been done, because that's there for them to read. Okay, I'm not gonna, read through that again. And just to encourage everybody to keep an open mind, weigh the articles, and ask questions, because there's a lot of misinformation out there right now. I just got stopped in the parking lot and played 20 questions, okay? So, hey, you really want to stand there and answer
All
them, but-
these CPA things,
Yeah.
they add up to $500,000 at 150 at a time. And we're gonna handle them one at a time. I think it'd be, somehow we ought to stand up and say, this is the total, there's several articles in here involving CPC funds, and the CPC takes in $1 million a year, and we're spending $1 million on the dam. We're spending $600,000 to pay off the debt on Tremont Nail, and now we're, in smaller amounts, we're adding up to another $500,000 of obligations. And they ought to be considered individually, but also in their consideration, what benefit the total town gets from those expenditures.
Well, she does do a report. I mean, I don't know if that's really what you mean. She totals up what programs
But
they're
when
doing right now.
When it comes up as an item, they're gonna, $98,000 here, and then before you know it, you've spent $500,000. I can
Yeah,
see
well,
that it's
yeah.
easier to approve them and.
In
when
small
you don't-
increments,
you look
and
at
what the
when
total
you don't
means.
look at what the total is.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. But of course, they can be reminded of that too, and that, this is a portion of total expenses for this year is gonna be this amount of money,
Part
I
of
don't
it-
know how much of the report people actually pay attention to and how much they
Yeah,
don't.
yeah.
Part of that, I think, is us going forward, because we, did all that individually too, and part of it is, maybe we should be asking what percentage of your total is this article, is that article, and so forth. So some other things we could probably do from a housekeeping viewpoint to get ourselves into, and get people to ask, to bring more data. I mean, it's like,
But Or they ought to all be looked at somehow as a
Well, yeah,
package. I
no,
don't know
mean,
how the
that's
heck you
why-
do that.
But that's our discipline. to say-
Unfortunately, we are bound by the lottery system.
no,
and
I know
that's
that.
what
That's
That's
right.
what town people wanted, so.
That's
But we
a-
could do
that's
it.
a
That's fine.
disadvantage.
Because
point
it
is-
keeps people, that lottery system keeps people here.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I
no.
can understand why that is, but
All right, as to any other business, I'm going to leave the next meeting date open. I've actually had emails from the Board of Selectmen and the chairman of the Board of Selectmen about a joint meeting with the school committee after town meeting was over. So I'll probably email you all and decide what's going to be the best date for that. That will probably be our next meeting. All right, but I need to review exactly what he sent me, because I don't remember right off the tip of my tongue what dates it was that they were offering, but, so we'll leave that as open-ended. Any other questions, comments? No, who got the candy? All right, I will,
Did you bring this?
yeah, you can. I will entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
So moved.
All those in
Dominic.
favor?
Dominic will have the candy.
All right, thank you.
Did you say hands in the center? Go team.